put thing on the bookkeeper. So,
Okay, we need to add the Wildcat Epic. They had written to us a month ago. I have a very quick response prepared.
okay, because we did put it on for next week because you have a meeting on Tuesday to adopt.
Yeah, but I think we need to get a letter to them, just
Okay.
at least responding.
Well, Carol did call.
Oh.
Carol called them and told them that we would be able to have a better sense on Tuesday.
Okay.
And that we could try to put
So
it on for
we
Thursday.
have made contact?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay?
And we've had that, it's the same route
Yeah.
that they've done in the past.
Yeah, it's just that,
But we're changing the parade policy.
Right, I'm with you, yeah.
So-
so we did call them to tell them.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll do some announcements, and then we'll do public input, which is not on the agenda. So we'll add that.
Yeah, it is,
Is it?
right under approval of agenda.
It says announcements, doesn't it? Oh,
This is
okay,
what
you
I
have the, okay, great.
I have the updated
You have the updated. Okay, Kitty, you seem to like to talk about this.
Okay, New Paltz Clean Sweep is coming closer and closer. Saturday, April 27th, 8:30 a.m. Everybody meet at St. Joseph's Church for some snacks, and you'll get your gloves, your garbage bags, and we will all go out and clean up our beautiful town. 8:30 St. Joseph's Church basement, April 27th.
Okay, anybody have any other announcements? Okay, I have two things very quickly. This is just for you to take and to read, and it'll be on the agenda for next week. Actually, I have to remember to add it. This is a draft overlay access management plan that had been worked on for a very long time. Kitty and I had the pleasure of having the person from the state come down and talk to the Transportation Implementation Committee. What's going to happen here, Rosanna, just for the record, we're not going to talk about it tonight. Dave is on the agenda, Clauser, for the planning board meeting this Monday, for him to present this to the planning board, which is the appropriate place for it to start and go. But then he's going to come on Thursday if we invite him to do a little update and overview on this. So I'm handing this out to you tonight because he was hoping you'd be able to review it, look at it, and then we'll be ready for next week. So that's what this is. The other thing I want to do is Kitty had made a call today to the town. She had, there were some questions that were asked about the .4 contractual expense line for the town board in 2012 and what the expenses were. And so we pulled this up, and I'm going to give it to Kitty for Kitty to be able to share with the person who asked the questions, which was actually asked, I guess, via Facebook. So Kitty, I guess, will post via Facebook. But just for everybody to know, since I'm giving this to Kitty tonight, the .4 line, which is considered the contractual expenses, we've got .1 is personal services, .2 is equipment, and .3 is contractual. And what our contractual expenses were that we spent last year was on the Association of Towns meeting, the expenses, to stay overnight in New York City. A number of legal notices, which comes out of the .4 line for the town board. So anytime we have to put a legal notice into the paper, it comes out of there. Also, what came out of there is whenever we have to get updates to the law books, the loose leaf law publishing supplements, that comes out of the town board line. Legal notice for police vehicles, legal notice for joint meeting, and some GFOA, General Financial something conferences that Jean Gallucci has been going to on behalf of the town's behalf, and some money for the microphones that we're using, which the town board graciously paid for.
Okay.
So anyway, the question was asked, here's the answer. Kitty, this is the information for you to
Okay,
share.
thank you.
And so I just wanted to do that.
And Kitty, that came from Mike or Terrence. I already spoke to them and gave them that exact answer.
From Mike Russo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I emailed both Mike and Terrence that answer because I knew the .4 has always been there and it's
Right.
usually never completely spent. It's always over budgeted.
Right, but they wanted a complete breakdown.
Oh,
so-
an actual, okay.
Right,
So
so
it's
now
always
it's
been
so-
honest.
Here is the actual breakdown.
And
Because
we
we
usually never
run
spend
a
it all. It's
totally,
very rare to
completely
spend it all.
transparent government, and if anybody has a question, they'll get their answer. And I would just like to say, if anybody has a question, they should feel free to call my assistant, Carol, and she would be more than happy to get you information. You don't have to ask the question via Facebook. But here, Kitty,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Okay, so that's it, I think, for the announcements for the moment, right? Okay, so going into approval items, first thing we have is the excavator
Well,
bid.
public input.
Oh, public input, I'm sorry. Anybody from the public want to speak? What you have to do is, yeah, go up to the microphone and,
Take the podium, sir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Torres, Town of New Paltz. First, I just want to thank the town board for taking steps to update the town website. I think that's really important, and with all due respect, I think there's certainly room for improvement with the current town website, so I'm happy to see that we're doing that. And I really think that the website can be a real resource for the community as well. Specifically, though, I did just want to talk about the minutes for the meetings. I'm not sure if there's plans to post those online.
they will,
There
yeah, absolutely,
be, right?
absolutely.
I believe they're currently not online, or at least I
Well,
have
well,
a hard time
part of the
finding them.
problem is it's really, really hard for us to post anything on the site, which is why we're doing what we're
Okay,
doing.
absolutely.
Actually, just to add real quick, actually, every document that we tonight as a board look at, that's also supposed to be on the website.
Okay.
So as soon as we get the new website, not only all the information we talk about at the meeting, and then the minutes after the meeting will all be on the website.
Right.
And
Well,
all the documents that we're reviewing,
Right.
that we're talking about, we will then be in compliance with the controller's requirements.
Right, well, that was my concern, and just also want to add as well, that I know the school district does this, and it's something just to think about, don't have to do it, but to take the meetings that we record and then also put them on the website, the school district does that as well, and just find it useful too.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. We're gonna actually hopefully have everything that we need to have on the website and more.
Okay?
We got some big plans, but we just want a functional website that, you know, we can actually post things on. I mean, we're at a point right now, honestly, if you try to look for Chris's name or my name on the town website, you can't find it anywhere, no matter how many times Carol tried to post it, it never took. So, anyway, any other public input? Okay, with that, so the first thing on the agenda is approval of the excavator bid. And what I'd like to do is have our highway superintendent come up and just give us a quick
Synopsis.
of why what this is and why we're doing this and why it's important and,
Before I get yelled at. This is a tracked excavator to be shared between the recycling center and the highway department on a 3-year municipal lease. This will take the place of eventually one of the backhoes that the town currently owns.
aren't there only 2 in the country that you said were?
Well, as of right now, I mean, excavators are brought in lots. Right now, there's 2 in the country waiting to be sold, and, you know, beginning of the season, they go like hotcakes. So, and if we wait on it, or if we decide not to do it, it takes a while to reallocate more equipment from overseas, the manufacturer, to get it into the country, and then, you know, they come to the manufacturer and it goes out.
And just one other quick question. Was the recycling grant that Laura got, is this coming out of that, or this is in our budget? We're
No,
doing
that's,
something else out of?
that is in her budget. She did put in 4 grants for these, but they
Right.
don't come, I'm not really sure on
Right.
the way she gets her grants.
Mhm.
It's stuff that comes down the road maybe
Right.
3-4 years from now.
Mhm. Well, yeah, we get the money back after,
Yeah.
but, okay, but this money is in the budget.
We have, she has
You-
budgeted, I have budgeted.
Right, right. So anyway, does anybody have any questions?
Well, I assume we're going with the $80,000
Yes.
one and not the $102,000 one? Okay.
Unless you want to
Wanted to get
authorize the
that-
102.
Just wanted to get that on the record, that we did get 2 bids,
Uh-huh.
and we're going with the lower.
Okay, so does anybody?
And they're
have-
both the same, both the bids? Was the machinery?
It basically the same
Because
equipment,
one was a Volvo and the other didn't say.
just a different make. The other one is a Hyundai.
Hyundai.
Hyundai,
Yeah.
it does say it.
And
in the
no,
back.
and there were only 2 bids we got.
Yes.
And this isn't the same thing that we share with Lloyd right now?
We share a grade all with Lloyd, which is starting to, discussion with Rich Klotz from Lloyd. It's starting to become problematic with the electronics. You can't put electronics in a heavy piece of equipment and expect it to last for a long time. The other grade all was probably 30 years old, and except for leaking everywhere, it ran and worked. This one, every once in a while, a relay will go out, and you just spin around for the longest time till you get the thing shut off. So this will also eventually replace that. Also, working with the Highway Association, the other towns around, Esopus has this same piece of equipment. I spoke with Rich Klotz, he's looking into buying the same piece of equipment. And then we will all get together and decide what attachments that we want for it and trade off the attachments. So one town doesn't have to buy all the like a jackhammer or a frail mower. So we can all trade off and, you know, work together that way, which will help us save a lot of money down the road.
Did you say this was a lease?
It's a lease with a $1 buyout,
Okay, so it's a purchase.
yes.
Okay.
So that $80,000 is the purchase price.
It's the cost of the term of the lease,
That's a 3-year lease.
3-year,
And then we pay $1 and we own it.
correct.
What is
Kevin,
the,
just use your microphone.
what's the residual value after 3 years?
Depending on condition, mid-20s.
So, any other questions? Do I have a motion to accept the bid for the,
2013
For-
Hyundai
Okay.
R80-9 excavator, the amount of $80,434, and to be paid for out of the highway,
and the second?
5110.2 line, and I honestly don't know Laura's line.
and
Or-
Laura's recycling
Recycling.
or
Equipment.
equipment line.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second?
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
motion so carried. Don't leave, because the next one will take us really quickly.
Absolutely. When do you think it'll get delivered?
As long as I give him a call now, we're looking at the equipment being moved from Carlisle, Pennsylvania in a week, and 3 weeks to have the attachment put on.
So you might be ditching this summer with it?
Yes, it's actually, it's not so much for ditching. We've found that, and another thing we're using this for is also the water department. On a major road, digging with a backhoe, you have to take up 2 lanes, basically just the way, the swing of the machine. With an excavator, you take up 1 lane because you can spin all the way around. So it's a lot more conducive to doing work in a confined area.
Thank you.
So hopefully within a month.
So I did say all in favor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we-
Okay. Okay, the next we have on the agenda is a motion to send a letter. The board spent a long time drafting a letter to the planning board on issues that we wanted to address in the Park Point DEIS. We sent that letter out, and Kitty had asked to put on the agenda for a motion to send the letter that we sent to the planning board, for the town board to also directly send it to the IDA. So I don't think anybody on this board has an issue or a problem. This is the
Red line.
The red line one, but you have the, and regardless, I said to Carol, when we were trying to find the original one, Kelly would have our actual form or whatever,
Right.
so we could ask Kelly tomorrow to,
Okay.
or Rosanna to send it out. So anyway, I will allow Kitty to make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion that the town board send a copy of our letter with our comments on the Wilmerite Park Point DEIS. The comments that we sent to the planning board be sent directly to the Ulster County Industrial Development Agency.
Do I have a second?
And I will second that, and I just have to let it go out on letterhead that has the full town board members' names on it.
Sure.
Included on it, and then signed from the full town board.
With the necessary bold print.
Yes.
Okay.
And,
Oh.
and also just a cover letter saying, you know, at the town board's request, I'm
Uh-huh.
forwarding this letter directly to
Okay.
you.
If you are serious about that, then we just have to get you all to come in to sign.
No, just that the letterhead have, I'm yet
Okay.
to see any letterhead that has all
Oh,
the town board
okay.
names on it. All I
Okay.
see a letterhead that says Town of New
Well,
Paltz,
then we'll have to.
and it says
Right.
supervisor, but it should be
Mhm.
Town of New Paltz with the full town board on it, like you see from all the other
Okay,
towns.
but then-
So it should have everyone's name on it.
We didn't create the stationery, but that's
But
beside.
guess
yeah.
what? They have this thing called computers.
And
Well, I'm
you
just saying,
you can
we'll
add names.
Design
It's
any
amazing.
Yeah.
stationery you
And
want.
I don't even want to talk about that because,
Well, if you have trouble designing the stationery, give me a
No.
call tomorrow.
no,
I
I'm
will
only,
come
no,
and do it.
I'm only,
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. This is
Okay.
letters from
Yeah,
the town board
yeah,
should
not a
come with
problem.
everyone's name on it.
not a problem, not a problem.
Not just a
Not a
individual's
problem.
name.
Okay, so do I have a second? I have a
We have
second.
a second? Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Okay, Chris, you want to come back up? Okay, did everybody get the letter from our attorney, Joe Moriello, in terms of the situation with the bidding on the pool pump?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we got 2 bids, and then there was a 3rd bid that was delivered to the post office,
But not retrieved.
not retrieved. So it was at the post office, it was stamped in time to meet with It was stamped in,
Yeah.
sure, go ahead, but you need a microphone.
Before you explain though, Chris, we received 2 bids. What were the amounts of the bids? You could just tell us
Oh,
what those
I
are.
can find it.
The first, one of the 2 bids was $74,272.
Uh-huh.
The second bid we received was $79,400.
Okay, Rosanna, go ahead.
Go ahead.
On Wednesday, the secretary of the man who submitted the third bid called and said that they wanted to send in their bid, and my deputy told them to send it overnight UPS or FedEx, because we didn't think it would get here in time through the regular mail. They sent it express mail through the post office overnight to 1 Veterans Drive, and we don't get postal service delivered here. That's why we have a P.O. box. So when my deputy picked up the mail on Thursday, early afternoon, there was no yellow card in there for her to pick up certified mail. So-
Overnight mail.
I'm sorry?
There was no card to pick up overnight mail.
Yeah, they usually put some kind of card in there when you have to sign for something.
Okay.
They put the card in after we picked up the mail that day, and the gentleman called the following day to find out the results of the bid, and that's when we found out that he had sent in his bid, and it was at the post office.
What time were the bids supposed to be received at the post office the day you retrieved them?
They're not supposed to be received at the post office, they're supposed to be received here by 3 o'clock.
By 3 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay.
At 1 Veterans Drive.
At 1 Veterans Drive,
And
not,
do you know what time the overnight mail was delivered?
12, it
To
was
the
12,
post
it was
office?
12:40.
12:40,
It was
yeah.
stamped 12:40 on
12:40.
Wednesday, which,
And they do not deliver directly to this address?
No, they don't.
They do not?
no,
And that is because there's a policy in place for that?
they just don't.
They just don't. You have to go and pick it up.
We go pick it up every day at the post office.
And there's a timestamp showing that it was received by 12:40?
There's a printout from the post office that says 12:40.
Okay, and do we know the amount of that bid?
no, because we haven't opened it.
No, we haven't
You haven't
opened
So
it.
what we have
Okay.
to do tonight is, so we got those 2 bids. When Rosanna realized that there was the third bid that had been before 3 o'clock on Thursday before the opening at 12:40, because we asked Joe Moriello to give us a
Opinion?
opinion on whether or not the town, whether or not that bid could be opened.
And if I
since-
could, Susan, can I just go
Sure,
through this?
please, yeah.
So we know that the
Just
bid
with
was received in the post office by 12:40, prior to the deadline that we had imposed for purposes of submitting bills here at 3 o'clock. Correct?
Bids, yeah.
Right.
All right. And to our knowledge, that envelope remained undisturbed at the post office
Yes.
at all times up until the present time. And where is that envelope now?
I have it.
Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied that the integrity of the bidding process was maintained, given the facts that I've heard with respect to this overnight mail package. So the integrity of the bidding process, nobody was trying to take advantage of sending in a bid late that could be considered, that might have lowballed the expense for this project. So I'm satisfied that the integrity was maintained. I don't know about the rest of you, based upon those facts.
So therefore, according to the opinion of the attorney for the town, if the town board is willing to make a motion to accept the bid, then the town board can then also open the bid, and then the town board could make a determination tonight or wait if we want to accept the bid. And so
What do you mean?
it's up to us at this.
Why, I don't think we're ready to accept the bid, but we can make a motion to open the bid.
I think
Right.
that we can make an application to waive non-compliance with respect to the technical requirement that it be received here by 3 PM, based upon the facts that the integrity of the bidding process was maintained.
Yeah, Kitty
So I'm
doesn't.
making that motion.
But that doesn't mean we're
Okay.
accepting the
Okay,
bid. That
well,
just
let's
means
Doesn't-
we're
make,
opening.
that's
let's make
correct,
the
Kitty.
motion to
Right,
open it, then we
okay.
can talk about that after.
Okay,
Okay?
you said accept. I just want to make
No,
sure
no,
we're
no,
not
the motion, no, I was
accepting.
saying the
correct.
motion is to
Okay.
open it, and then we can decide if we want to
Fine.
make a motion to accept.
Fine.
So
That's- 'cause I don't know what the bid is, so I
I'm
have no
making
clue.
a
Right.
motion to waive technical non-compliance based upon the fact that the facts that were elicited tonight support the conclusion in my mind that the the integrity of the bidding process was maintained.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, motion so carried.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion so carried.
So open that,
So now we should open the bid.
let's hope it comes in $35,000 less.
Drum roll. They should, yeah. Zoom in. And the winner, no.
And the envelope says?
This is a bid that was submitted by Norberto Construction from Comac, New York. The total sum for all work listed is $63,300 with a non-collusion declaration included.
Okay, so now we have a 79, 72, and 63.
74, 79, and 63.
Which is still.
Still about, we were hoping around 45, 40 was about our goal, because we're looking for about 20 from each, from
The
2025.
the original,
You take-
when Councilman Logan and I met with the engineer from Streamline Aquatics, who doesn't do the actual construction, he engineers large pools. He's the one that gave me the price range of between, first it was a lot cheaper, in the 20s range, because he wasn't considering prevailing wage. Once he talked to a few of his contractors, he remembered the prevailing wage and came up with this range between high 30s, low 40s. I believe, Kevin, I gave you 37 to 43, somewhere in there. There was some extra costs incurred by the town via the spec. Was originally, when I spoke to him, it was us doing the electric. By us meaning that I would run the conduit, run the electric, and then have an electrician come and hook it up. After reviewing that, I didn't think that was the best idea. It might be better and save some time and money if the person doing the pump installation did it all. Also, there was a thing for putting in dual strainers. A conversation that I had with Streamline Aquatics was, instead of the pumps being shut down as we've done in the past, to be able to just switch from one strainer to another so the operation wouldn't shut off. You know, the pump would always be running. After a conversation with him after that, I was made aware that we could have possibly used our old equipment, the strainers. He did tell me that the added cost of what I thought that we needed was probably about $14,000 more than the range that we had talked. We seem close to that, but I think that without looking at it, and the two bids that we did receive, it just gives a long list of material and the pumps. Those two bid prices were, just for the materials, were within $1 of themselves, so I believe them to be accurate. We got a chance to see this one yet.
Yeah, it appeared, Chris, everything was coming out of labor.
Yes,
So the one upside that we have, I don't know if it's an upside, is that all of these funds, though, can come out of our recreation fees.
Mhm.
So we do have the money. I don't know if the village has budgeted, though, because this is capital expense, if they have room in their budget for half of 63,000, though.
Although they also, no, they have a recreation line too.
Which is a lot less than ours, though, and I
Yeah.
have no idea what the balance is, so.
What the nice feature is that really,
Kevin, you need to talk into them.
they're
Just know they've been closer to
technically
you.
responsible for 25% of the delta, so it's going to be less of an impact.
No,
This comes out of,
No, we
This
should-
comes out of B?
50, yeah.
This comes out of a B from our
Right.
recreation
Right.
fees.
Right.
And this is
So it's
considered a capital
50-50.
expense,
50/50, it's
okay.
capital.
so we have agreed that it would be 50/50 under a capital expense.
So why don't, while Chris looks at that and to see how he feels he wants to recommend we proceed, let me just go to the next subject, and then we'll go back to this, if that's okay. This is not pleasant to talk about by any means, but we have this emergency operation committee that deals with how we respond to an emergency when it comes to like a storm or anything like that. And after Superstorm Sandy, we had a follow-up meeting because we're trying to come up with a new plan to assure that both the town and the village is equipped to deal with, all these impeding storms. At that particular meeting, someone who, from the college, had said that they were hosting at the college the 10th annual IDMH conference, and it's radiological readiness, preparing for dirty bombs, nuclear disasters, and other radiation emergencies. And it's an all-day lecture at, it's an all-day conference and at the SUNY New Paltz Lecture Center. And what he had said was that he thought it was really important for myself and, other people to be there. One of the reasons why he said he thought it was so important was that I guess with FEMA or whatever federal organization had said that there's concern about the potential of a nuclear bomb in a suitcase exploding in New York City. And so therefore, they're trying to get all of the elected officials, and the emergency management people prepared. God forbid there should be an emergency when everybody runs out of the city and comes up this, I'm getting chills talking about this. If people come out of the city and come up here, we need to be prepared for what's going to happen. So they had asked for everybody to come. It happens to be tomorrow. They're charging us the cost, which is $35. What I'd like to do is ask the board, of course, I don't want to go, but I guess I have no choice in terms of I guess I have to. But what I did was ask Stacy if she could come, and I said that, I feel like as an elected official, you never know when an elected official is going to be here or not be here. And so you want somebody who works for the town to have some of the expertise and experience. So God forbid, there's an emergency, I'm not here next year, and, something happens, that at least Stacy has the training and the expertise. So what I'd like to do is ask the board to just approve myself and Stacy going tomorrow for $35 from Stacy's budget and $35 from my budget. Or we could take the total thing from the town board line, I don't care. But, to authorize us to go to this conference tomorrow.
You should.
I am not looking forward to sitting through a day's conference to deal with this issue, but
Well, what are the hours? Because I'm available tomorrow.
it's from 9 o'clock till 9 o'clock until, it's all day, Jeff. Oh, it's right here, I'm sorry. It's 9 o'clock to 4:30. So if you want to go, it's not a problem, because we're going to register when we get there anyway.
you should.
And so it's just authorizing the three of us if you want. So, I think it's, look, the more people trained, the better it is, because God forbid an emergency like this happens, I don't know who's going to be in their right mind to, actually, I would love you to come, so
You should
this way
go.
when,
Oh,
God
did you see
forbid
who's
happens.
speaking? Is James Halpern's going to speak.
Mhm,
He just got back from, he went up to Boston also.
mhm, yeah. Honestly,
He's the guy that, he speaks all over the world
Yeah.
at disasters. He's
Yeah.
an incredible man.
I'd like you to really pay a lot of attention if you come, because God forbid this happens, I'm worrying about my kids. No, of course, we do what we have to do, but,
Okay, I make a motion that.
Yeah, I will go.
okay,
Yeah,
That
I'll
we
go.
Okay.
send 3 representatives of the town to this conference tomorrow.
okay,
Second,
okay. All in
provided
favor?
one of them is Jeffrey.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Just, I'm meeting Stacy here at 9, at 8:45, so if you want to meet us, we could drive over, so we have one car to
Okay,
park,
yeah, yeah, 'cause
okay?
parking's never easy over there.
Yeah, and so I have a pass that they gave us and stuff, so,
Oh, good.
okay, so meet us here tomorrow, 8:45, and
Mhm.
we will, okay, so I called for the vote? Everybody called?
Yes,
in
we
favor?
did.
Okay, I don't know why okay, Chris, I don't know if you're, while you're doing that, I'll just do one more thing. Next week, we need to start the meeting at 7 o'clock instead of 7:30, because Brenda Parks, if you know by the contract, that Time Warner is supposed to come to the community to have a public meeting where the public can come if they have concerns or questions about their cable, about Time Warner
Service.
Cable, their service, their whatever, that they have the opportunity to come, and somebody from Time Warner needs to be available for the public to come, ask questions, complain, demand their senior discount, whatever it is. So Brenda's available next Thursday, and so what I thought we would do is start at 7 o'clock. let Brenda come then, and then we can start our meeting at 7:30. And
Sounds good.
so if that's okay with everybody?
Good.
Okay, so do you want to do it as a motion to start the meeting at 7 o'clock, or,
So moved.
okay, second?
Aye. Second.
All in favor?
Second, aye.
Okay, what we're going to do, Mike's not here, but we put together a blurb, and I don't know if Carol already sent it to the paper, or we'll send it tomorrow, letting the, well, actually, it'll come out Wednesday and Thursday. We'll get it on channel.
Channel 23.
We have it on Channel 23, and maybe we can type something up that'll get on Channel 23, and then we're going to get a blurb to the New Paltz Times regardless,
Right,
letting
we
people
can
know.
Put it on Facebook.
Kitty, feel free. Actually, we were going to ask you if you want to take over the town Facebook site.
I don't know that I want to take it over, but if you want to make me an administrator, I
Sure.
can post
Okay, because I
information
think
like
right now
that.
Laura is the administrator, and I think it's better for a town board member to
Okay.
be, okay. So that's next Thursday here at 7 o'clock, okay? So, okay, so Kitty, we'll see, we'll figure this out, and maybe you can, okay, great. Okay, so Chris? If you're not ready, I still have more, I can do one more thing.
No, just so the board's aware, I am by no means an expert on this. All right, I've done a lot of research, spoke to a lot of engineers. To simplify it, I clean the toilets and I dig your ditches. So,
You do
you
more
know,
than
all
that,
of a
but
sudden I've
anyway.
become a pumpologist, for the pool. So, to give you an answer tonight, there's a few things in this bid which I don't see, that actually none of the other bids, only, actually one of the bids, I'm not even sure what I'm allowed to talk about in these bids. Are we allowed to?
They're
Yeah,
public,
they're
they're
public.
they're now,
Alright,
once they're open, they're now public
Okay,
bids.
part of the, from one bid reads that there is confined space that we have now, and this one man addresses it, that for so many hours, he will have a confined space person. The other two bids, I don't see that in the bid. I don't know if that's, they're not gonna abide by that, or they left it out. It's a safety thing. I would imagine that it's up to the contractor to meet all the state regulations with this, but they're on our site, so I'm not sure if they don't follow certain guidelines, if it's a problem.
Well,
I don't think it's our liability.
I say, because we get a bond from them, don't we? And an
Yeah.
insurance
Yeah.
bond from them. Before they start work, you get a bond and an insurance bond from them, right?
They should
Did
know
you
whether-
receive a copy of it, or?
You should get insurance, proof of insurance, and they would know whether or not they're violating the labor laws anyway.
Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, do you not feel comfortable recommending us accepting a bid tonight, which is okay, because then there's other steps we can take, so I want to,
No, I would, I hate to put on board next week, but I would like some time just to
Alright.
chew
Okay.
over
No, that's
this
fine.
and
Okay.
to
That's
do
okay.
a little more research and to make a
We'll
snap
table it.
decision for
no, that's fine. No, I want to make a,
$62,000.
I want to actually make a recommendation, because just so we all understand, and the viewing public understands, that the ability for the pool to open depends on us doing this work and when this work gets done. So one of the concerns is trying to do this quickly, but we don't want to do it wrong. One of the things that we don't want this to happen, we're not looking for this to happen, but it's like Chris said, when we open the pool for the first month, it's only open on weekends. So if it means we can't open it for 2 weeks, we're only missing 2 weekends, and it's better when you're spending this kind of money to do it right. So the only thing I would just other is how the board feels if Chris doesn't feel comfortable and Chris wants to rebid it. We would redo the bid. Dave did it on some internet site, right?
He put it on some engineers, but
He put it
Yeah,
on some,
something.
so he put it on the internet.
Their version of the Blue Book, though. Like, there
Right.
can't be too many companies that can bid
Right.
on this. I mean, it's pretty specialized.
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so when we don't, if the board, I talked with Gina about this, if the board can direct that we're only going to rebid it on that internet site, that we don't have to put it in the local paper where nobody from New Paltz can bid on it, most likely will bid on it anyway or has the expertise. So I just want to know, in terms of moving it forward, and I'm okay with just waiting until next week, but if Dave Clauser and Chris feel the need to have to rebid because they don't feel comfortable recommending anyone, can we authorize them to do the bid and get it back up on the internet with the possibility of having it open next Thursday so we could possibly approve it that night instead of losing an entire month?
It's fine with me.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if everybody's okay with that way, then what I'd like to do is make a motion, have someone make a motion for the engineer for the town and the highway superintendent slash pool engineer slash, review the bids and come back next week with a recommendation of which one you would like us to accept or to rebid it if you feel necessary, and bidding it and putting the bid on the contractor's site that Dave Clauser recommended with a date for the bids to be here by next Thursday, to be opened at,
3 o'clock?
well, you want to say 12 o'clock, so this way, if, I'd rather do 12.
Okay.
Okay, 12 o'clock,
What's wrong with 3 o'clock?
because if
They
Rosanna,
always usually do it at 12, but Dave put 3 in the bid.
But, I mean, on that day.
well, that's because, well, it's also,
So I'm confused about your saying they don't deliver here.
The post office doesn't deliver mail here.
So the other bids were in the PO box.
They were hand delivered.
They were hand delivered.
Does Federal Express deliver her?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why we told them either UPS or FedEx, because they come directly here.
But Express Mail does not.
Why do we have a
But we-
post office box?
well, anyway,
Why
that's,
don't we-
I don't know, but anyway, if we just say 12 o'clock, we don't necessarily say it has to be delivered here, it can be there or here, you're going to get the mail at 11:30 anyway, and if it's not there, we won't have this, so if we just say by 12 o'clock or 12:30,
Well, the post office doesn't always get the mail out by 12:30. I can attest to that, so.
well, I mean, if we say 3 o'clock or 3:30, then,
I mean, I think it's okay to say by noon, but you might just want to go an hour or two later that day because they, I have a PO
well, no,
box.
well,
and-
if we say 12 o'clock, then the bids have to be
But
open
the
at 12,
bids
because the
have
public
to
have
be
to be.
delivered here, don't they? Okay, so the bids have to be delivered here. In this scenario we just discussed, it got stuck at the post office. It was sent overnight mail. The sender assumed it would be delivered here, but it wasn't. So I think we can stick to 12 o'clock. Everybody knows they'll be delivered here.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Do
She doesn't
not,
need-
but I think we should say, do not use the United States Postal Service.
Well,
They won't deliver here.
I think we should advise them if they're serious about meeting the timeliness component, yes, they should use services that deliver to this building.
all I'm just saying is they use Express Mail, and Express Mail goes to the post office. Only Federal Express and UPS deliver to Town Hall.
They didn't even put that in there until 4 o'clock. the day before.
Yeah, okay, so we have a motion,
We have a motion consistent with what you said. Yes, so
Okay.
moved.
and do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any more discussion?
Just so you know, too, we are working on the pool. I mean, Buildings and Grounds is working there every day with Bill Russell, and so we'll be all set to go with every other little incidental thing, fixing the mold and all the fun stuff that goes on every year. So
Cool.
this will be the last thing that we'll, when the last pump is put in, we fill it with water, flip the switch, then, we're doing our best to get it open by that date.
Okay.
Are we removing that one
Okay.
slide, or,
Well, can I just say all in favor?
yes,
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
motion so carried.
the slide is that,
Yeah,
because
we are
it looks like we
taking-
might not have the money for it to
Yeah,
buy that
We are
slide.
taking the one slide out. One of the crew had done a lot of extensive body work over the years, and we're gonna try and fix it.
Okay.
See what we can come up with, if we can,
Because they were going for like 10, 12,000.
yeah, if we can refurb it,
I don't
we'll give it
think
a
we're-
try. If there's any risk of it splintering for any reason and hurting someone, then we'll just.
Because it looks
leave
like with us
altogether.
spending 30,000
Yeah.
on this, we're not going to have 10,000 for a slide, unfortunately, this year.
Well, it's either
Let's-
pool or pumps or no water for
Yes,
slide.
exactly.
Okay, so
Thank you.
great. Okay, so that's just thanks, Chris, so much.
Thank you,
And thank you
Chris.
for everything you do. I mean, you just,
Keep this.
Yes.
we elected a highway superintendent, and we got,
Well, does,
You got a bathroom?
Roseanne probably needs a copy of it, though. She needs a copy.
okay. The only other thing I just want to say really quickly is we got a slew of resumes for the part-time bookkeeper job. We got an awful lot. We divided them up into New Paltz residents, out-of-town residents, and random background. Qualified, okay, New Paltz residents, qualified out of town, and random background out of town. So What my plan was, unless the board has other ideas, was to give this to Jean, let her look through this and
Put them in
see.
a box, and then we'll pick them.
Well, basically, no, to let Jean review this first to see from the resumes who she really believes should be the, I mean, there's probably about 50 in here, and we're not going to interview 50 people. So let her sort of pick out the most qualified people, and then, I thought that myself and Jean could try to arrange a time to meet with these people and interview them, and then either narrow it down or recommend somebody, or we could narrow it down and then have the entire board interview the people. It's up to everybody how you want to handle it. I want to just try to make it as efficient as possible, so we could sort of move forward and hire somebody and get them in here.
So how many are from New Paltz
This is the
residents?
interesting-
Um,
That's the only one.
Yeah, there's a number from New Paltz.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13.
There's 13 from New Paltz, but I want to just say that what Jean had, Jean's feeling is she, of course, will focus, we should focus on the New Paltz, but if she sees a very, very qualified resume from somebody who's out of New Paltz with exceptional qualifications, she wants, to be able to interview that person too. And all I can just say is, when it comes to the town bookkeeping, I think we need the most qualified person, because they handle the finances for the town. And, municipal bookkeeping for a government with so many lines, the A, the B, the DB, the DA, the water, the sewer, the whatever, and all the controllers' rules and regulations, it's a lot of work, and we honestly don't have the time to necessarily train somebody, from scratch. But, so, Jean said that she felt that we should look through it, focus on New Paltz, but not recognize somebody who might have exceptional experience outside of New Paltz.
Well, I would be comfortable with, a hard look at all of the New Paltz applicants first,
Mhm.
and then a moderately hard look
Mhm.
at the most qualified from out of town. But my preference would be if there's somebody who is very close to being our
Mhm.
model applicant, that we try and stick with the New Paltz resident.
So, are you guys okay with Jean looking through it first, narrowing it down, Jean and myself interviewing the person, or somebody else on the board with Jean interviewing the person? That's fine, I just don't want to have to hold, wait till 5 people can get together.
Right.
Or we can do the 5 people, I just want to move this
Quite a few
along.
of these are college students that are graduating in May, just so you know. Which is fine with me.
Well, I think in the past, what we have done is ask the supervisor, and in this case, another board member, to narrow the pool down to maybe the top 5 to 10 candidates, and for you to interview them. And then if there are a number left who you feel are equally qualified, then the entire town board, which is the personnel committee, will come in and do the final round of interviews. Does that feel like that works for you?
Well, so in other words, that Jean and I would do the initial thing, narrow the pool down,
Yeah.
and then have the board come in to interview
Well,
the,
You could even do telephone interviews, but, if you come up with a pool of, say, 10 that look worth interviewing, to do a first round of interviews with
Right.
those. And then when you feel that you've got some number of
Mhm.
equally qualified,
Mhm.
then the entire town board can
Yeah.
come in for that.
Yeah, because I think, to his point, like, just even the first one, I am not sure what the requirements are, but I'm highly trainable. I think some of these can be
I
discounted very
had a
quickly.
puppy like that.
Exactly. And how did that work out?
so if that's
So
okay
yes,
with everybody,
so
so
yes,
that's
if
what
you
we'll
could-
do, is so I'll, get these to Jean, let her look through all of them, narrow them down. Jean and I will, if we narrow it down to only a few, then we could just bring the whole board in and just do it in one round. If there's so many that are qualified, then Jean and I could try the first crack to bring it down, so we could just make it more effective for when the board does the interview. The
Okay.
only thing is, because, well, I don't know, if we could do this by next Thursday, that would be great. If not, then I might want to call a special meeting just for the purposes of to do the interview.
Well, personnel committee meetings can always be a special meeting.
Right, but so I'm just letting you
fine.
guys know that I don't want to
Okay.
wait until the third week of May to
Right.
try to interview somebody and get somebody in place, that's all. So I'm just saying, try to be prepared for maybe an extra meeting, but I'm going to try to keep it so you don't have an extra meeting. Okay? So I don't think we need a motion, that's just, the process of how we'll go.
Update.
Yeah, that's just an update of how we'll proceed. So if there's nothing else, does anybody have anything else before I make a motion to adjourn?
What else do we have?
Nothing, it's all next week.
Memorial concession.
No, we'll do that next week.
Pavilion.
It's all next week. You'll get the agenda tomorrow. Carol and I did it a little while ago, and there's just one thing we wanted to double check before we put it on the agenda, release it, but we'll have it, I mean, it's already pretty much done.
Okay.
Okay?
The
So-
only thing is just under reports is there were some discussions. As we all know, Park Point is still going forward. So I have been attending the planning board and ZBA meetings with that. One of the concerns that came up, and I know and I'm sorry.
I'm just going to, I just have to go talk to Chris for one
Yep,
second.
I'm sorry Ira left, is the developer does have some concerns which I think are relevant, which is we are yet to present a dollar figure to them or what we believe the cost of the town is. And we're going out to seek, asking them to pay for outside experts, which they're not saying that the outside experts may or may not be charged to them. They didn't have an opinion on that, but certainly they should be given a chance to see what we feel some of the numbers are. And we're yet to get back to them, so I don't know if,
When they say "we," do they mean the town board or the commission?
well, the police commission, we had asked the police commission to work on it, and I'm sorry, like I said, Ira had left. At the police commission meeting, they did hand out just to the police commission members, something that Ira had worked on cost. So I think what we could do, maybe Susan, if you could request from the police commission, and also Randall was going to meet with also the head of fire, and he was going to meet with the head of the ambulance, and then he was going to meet with Mike. So we could actually have something that we believe is a reasonable number of the cost to the town. And then they may be able to come back with us and have a different view of maybe what their tax liability would be to this community. So we could come back with.
Under a pilot.
Under a pilot. So, maybe they have a proposed over 25 years, $5 million. If we could maybe show them that the $5 million is not correct, that the original data collected was not the correct data, because they are still working from their original data collected, which was, 2 out of our 3 emergency services responded that they felt that they would be able to handle it, because they were asked, could you handle it? They never asked, what is the dollar amount? So
Right.
they got the answer. Joe, our police chief answered it correctly, and our fire chief answered it correctly, that yes, this is something we can handle.
But not on point when it comes to.
But the question was
They weren't
never.
asked to estimate what
The,
it
the,
would
the
cost.
question was, they got the answer they wanted, which was, yes, we can handle it. The question wasn't directly, yes, we can handle it,
At
but
what expense?
what expense? So they were not asking the correct people for that. So unfortunately, the correct people weren't exactly asked. So I do agree with the, developer that we should then give them. So if some figures have been come up
Well,
with,
if I
let's
could-
present them with a letter from the town
Yeah.
board. Maybe we could work, get that out to them and say, here's the expense we believe it's going to be, and it's going to be, we're going to need to hire, another shift of police, which would require 4 police. We're going to need to buy another fire truck. We're going to need another ambulance, or whatever. I'm just throwing those out. I don't know what the real expenses are.
If I can do just a very quick update to Jeff, because what happened was, since it's been really hard to get that information, and some statements were made at a planning board meeting, and some of you might have seen the email that was sent around and whatever, Michael and I did talk and said, Michael, we just got to get a handle on this. So Michael Calamato and myself met with the police chief, with Gina from the rescue squad. Kevin couldn't be there from the fire department. And Joe Moriello, no, I'm sorry, Dave Clauser and George Lithgow were there. And we did get pretty much of a handle on the police stuff. We got a pretty good handle on that. There were just some other things that Randall was there too, I'm sorry. Randall wanted to go back and check with Ira on some of the additional costs of equipment and contractual and all that kind of stuff. Because when you offer, when you
Can
bring
you
it,
reduce that to writing so we can look at it?
we haven't got, no, this is, let me tell you, is like.
Well, Ira made a spreadsheet of some type.
Well, that's what, see, that's the thing, yeah.
See,
We
I
have,
wanna
we have,
look
we have all the numbers, the only thing is that when you hire a police officer and we account for his,
You have direct and indirect costs.
Exactly.
You gotta make sure the indirect
that's
costs.
the thing that we're waiting for Ira to give us some of the indirect costs.
Because the indirect costs are escalating at a rate far
Yes.
greater than the
Yes.
direct costs.
Yeah, but yes. So we have most of those costs, but we need those additional. Then with the ambulance, they did do an analysis to the best of their ability, but when we then actually talked about it, there was really, there was more information that needed to that needed to be brought forward. Because, when they look at their number of calls, it's, calls to the village, calls to the town, but how many are, and then they looked at the calls to the college. So anyway, we're asking for more information, but it's being worked on, and then
Well,
when
no,
we get it.
all that
yeah.
data's been provided, actually. All the data, we've had that data for 4 or 5 months from even longer, since they put in their, economic impact statement. It's in the DEIS, the draft economic impact
Yeah.
statement. We have how many calls currently are made to the university by both the university police, by UP, and by New Paltz Police. So
Yeah, well, we're trying-
we have all of that data. I think what it
No,
is
what we're trying, I'm sorry, Jeff, what we're trying to calculate, though, is because because we're adding 700 kids downtown that will be downtown at night, trying to understand how many calls could be equated to the students downtown at night, so we can then also add that into the mix. Because it's not just the kids at Park Point, it's also what do they do to the community when they're downtown, it's,
I'm not debating that at all, no,
Yeah.
I totally agree, but I think our responsibility, though, is, we're getting longer in this process, our responsibility is to get.
Yeah, we're trying to,
Wait,
yeah,
did
absolutely.
we ever get a response to our RFP for an economic analysis?
did they put the RFP out, or are they
I don't
waiting?
know.
I don't think they did, I think they
Because
were.
I understand that we got a letter from Mike Moriello to the planning board saying that they objected to our requesting an independent financial analyst.
Well,
We really need one.
Well, and again, because I've been attending those, and I did read it, and we have the letter, yes, the letter was sent, the letter was stating a couple things, and I could give a copy to Kevin, he could probably define it in a lot less than the 15 pages that it was. You cannot make a determination based on economics as far as approving or disproving development in your community, based on loss of tax revenues. So,
I mean, this gets into a whole area of seeker philosophy that I
well,
don't
it's
think-
state law.
But it is part of seeker, and from what I understand, their argument is that it isn't a significant enough part of seeker to take this kind of time.
Well, actually, the argument that was made, and I could have misunderstood it, but from my understanding, and then with the discussions with the board, was their simple request is that can we get them the data from what we believe, let their economic group look at it, respond back to that, and then if we still feel we need to go out to an outside firm, we can do that. We have the
But
right
I
to
thought
do
they
that.
were saying that we were delaying the process in an unconstitutional way, that
So
Well, I guess that would
what you're
be if they
saying
don't.
is.
Debatable.
I guess that would be if they don't agree with the information we give them.
We have data
Yeah.
that we can use to make assumptions, right?
Kevin, you have to talk into the microphone.
And so we have to take that data, we have to make our assumptions, and then translate those assumptions into dollars.
Right.
Is that what we have to do?
Yes, and I think we should be doing that sooner than later.
Then I would like
think
to
that's our
see
responsibility, I believe.
what was presented to you at that meeting, so we can start looking to
Well,
make.
it wasn't necessarily presented to me. We had some numbers that the chief and I came up with, and then Randall and the police commission came up with, but Randall's going back to Ira to get the final numbers, and they'll
Okay.
come to us. And then there was, with the ambulance presented, we realized that there were still holes in it. So the ambulance was, so Gina, who was not the one who did the numbers, but the person who did the numbers wasn't able to attend the meeting. So she was going to go back to him, have him get some more information, get it to Mike Calamano, and then hopefully it was all going to get put together to come to us sooner than later, because we're trying to. That's why we had the meeting.
Well, I think what I'd like to do is put a deadline on this and have the board just be able to present something, because we've been discussing this about
I agree.
the fiscal impacts, and Ira has prepared a spreadsheet.
Okay.
We're not sitting here looking for exact dollars and pennies, we just need
Right.
something that's a roundabout
We
number.
should have a subcommittee sit
So-
down and come up with some draft.
So if we can get all of those together, I'd like to get that done, so. Susan, if
Okay.
you could circulate an email then, and this- so we can try to get a response. It would be, there's another board, the next planning board meeting is
Monday,
Monday.
yeah.
And then there won't be another one for another, the following month,
Second
Monday.
whatever the second
Whatever the
Monday.
second Monday, and then,
Well,
thank you, May. So it won't be until May 13th. So I think it would be our responsibility to get it to them at least a week prior to that meeting, so
Yeah.
should they
Well, I
choose to
th-
discuss it,
yeah.
they can discuss it.
Well, the
at that
goal is, I
meeting.
mean, again, I agree, but, and that's why we had the meeting on, on.
Monday.
Monday, I think we had the meeting?
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah, so we had the meeting on Monday. You know, Ira went, you know, Randall had his marching orders. Gina was going to get to, I think it was Ted, who was going to hopefully work on it. And Mike Calamano could already have the numbers and could be working with them. So I can have Carol follow up tomorrow, because we'll be at our thing, to see if Mike has received it. And then, you know, maybe have Kelly or somebody call to put, you know, but I mean, everybody knows that we've got to get this, we've got to get it done, and it's, you know, it's enough already. It's just, it's actually not that easy, though, in a lot of ways, when you're really trying to assess the impact on the community.
That's
It's
why
it's
you
really,
have-
it's
This
really,
is why pilots are so incredibly unfair. I mean, we have to
Puts
try and
the-
anticipate a number that will get us through.
that's exactly
But
right.
the whole point of a budget every year is that you have unexpected expenses, and not be able to count on everybody contributing to the annual revenue base is a terrible burden.
It's terrible.
Well, you know what, I have to.
And so that's why you have general rules for trying to allocate that budgetary number over the general population.
Exactly.
And, you know, for certain people, you get certain benefits that other people can't get because they're little guys is not fair. It just is not fair.
Wouldn't it be wonderful to reverse it and say only the multi-million-dollar corporations pay taxes and the little guys don't?
Would you like to make a motion?
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, so
And
that.
actually, then there was just one other request for use of the community center. We do have a fee schedule for it, but the request came from someone that teaches CPR. There is, every year they need to renew their CPR down at the pool. And so there is a girl who is, actually, you probably remember Matt Suits. He is, since moving on, he's now doing collegiate coaching, so, which is kind of neat. You have actually at Villanova, so we now have
Wow.
someone who's, so we now have someone who's been a born and bred New Paltz swimmer who's now actually coaching at Villanova,
Wow.
which is pretty incredible. His sister is certified to now teach CPR and would like to know if, you know, as long as nothing else is scheduled there, would she be able to use the community center? The fees that she charges are solely for the books and materials. Because the American Heart Association, I believe, total top of my head, because I have to recertify every year. Last time I did it, I believe it was $45 because the card is part of the book. You actually
So what
tear
are you
the
pro-
card out of the book.
What are you
So,
proposing?
I'm just proposing that we allow Laura Suits to use the community center at no fee to teach the lifeguard CPR.
That
Is it
makes
open
sense
to
to
the
me.
public or just lifeguards?
Or lifeguards?
If you would like, I could ask, I mean, I could get back
Yeah,
to her and
that'd be
say if it was
great
open to
if-
the public, if.
that would
she-
be
to
great.
To be honest with you, I would doubt she would have any problem opening it up to the public.
Right.
And again, unfortunately, the fee is,
The fee is what it is. but-
unfortunately, it is, they make you buy the book. You have no
Right.
choice, because the card is physically attached to the book,
I don't have
unfortunately.
any objection, but I would love to give the entire population the opportunity.
Okay, I
to
will follow up with Laura
participate.
then to see if it's,
Okay.
if she does not mind
Okay.
opening up the community, and then she would have to work around the recreation center to see that there is nothing else booked there
That's
and that
fine.
she
Okay.
could be bumped.
So the motion by Jeff is everything he said, but with the possibility of opening it up to the public also.
Perfect.
Second.
Okay? Any more discussion on it?
Aye.
Aye.
Anything else?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor? All in- well,
Aye.
We all said aye.
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 Aye, aye. Okay,
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn?
Second.
Third.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks.